Hey everybody, it's Exonerated. I'm back after a very, 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 very busy week. Good gracious. Been doing a lot of things around the base today. First off, I do want to apologize about the delay in getting episodes out recently. I've been just absolutely swamped at the job, and so as a result, I've been unable to actually sit down and record. Um, so went and moved the nether wart over, and I just have a simple piston set up with a delay. And then I can just go along and harvest the nether wart. And then this way, it's kind of out of the way. Whoops, and that was a brilliant YouTube moment. Let's go pick them all back up and do it again. So basically, if you don't know, it's just a regular piston on each end. Then there's a redstone torch here. So when it pushes the soul sand over, I just have three repeaters on a 4-tick delay. And the signal comes around, powers this block, and pushes them back. It's just a really simple, give it, okay, there we go. It's a really simple way to harvest another wart that doesn't involve a lot of material. And then the other thing I did was I went over here and I took down the sugarcane farm for now. I went through, did a ton of trading, but as you can see, I've got a pretty good amount of sugarcane stockpiled up, and that's just going to get us started, even with all the trading. This is all of the horses and donkeys that I found in my immediate area. That's a lot of horses. That's crazy. I've never actually seen a zone spawn so many. But I went through and wrangled them all up. I was in the process of doing some torching and then kind of figuring out where I want paths to go. I want to be able to start building soon for the village, and I just had to corral the horses. At least I have lots of horses here to play with when it comes to testing speeds and jumps and all of that other stuff. So that'll be fun when we get a chance to work on that. And then I have been doing a ton of work on this villager system. I went through and just harvested some wood. This is going to be some woods that I'm thinking about using for the village. But anyway, back to the villager farm here. So the villagers, if you remember correctly, I'll take you up there so we can look. The villagers go through and they spawn. These doors are not going to stay where they are right now. They're all going to be moved. I'm actually going to get a separate villager and raise them up a little bit. And so hopefully this will just start spawning regularly after I kill that golem and a couple of these less than favorable guys. So at any rate, we'll go through and... no, you can't hit me. Haha. So we'll go ahead and set this up so that the villagers are spawning again. The children will fall down into this area, which funnels them into a small chamber, which funnels them into a single tube, which leads them over. And I have the tube. I'm going to have a water elevator in the back here that leads them up and brings them over. And what I wanted was a system for kind of sorting out villagers. Initially, they're all going to go one way into this catch and release system so that I can set up iron farms and whatnot. But after that, I want to set up a pen where villagers can be bred, or not bred rather, but traded with. And in order to do that, I want to be able to kind of sort through each of the different kinds of villagers. So I've made a small system here. There's 2 sticky pistons on either side, and a dispenser in the middle. The dispenser just activates a water bucket, and it either leads the villagers down one of 2 ways. Let's see here. I had a button. Here's a button. We're going to put it right there. So the first path will be to destruction where it pushes them off into a pit of lava. And then after so many seconds, it shuts off. And then the piston raises back up again. If I flip this switch, we come over here. I want the rest of the villagers to live, so I just press a button. And they get pushed off into this little water elevator that starts stockpiling them right there. I have a rail system that comes through and picks them up, takes them off to wherever I need them. And then again, after a few seconds, it goes through and shuts off the water again and closes up the piston. The hope here is that I can just pile villagers up and check them out, and then when I get ones I don't like, send them on their merry way. I'm working on a system up here, and that's what this lever is for, to drop them off one at a time so I can check them out individually. I want to be able to stockpile villagers in this tube and then check them down here and send them off or kill them. Initially, this will probably be off, and we'll just have the villagers just all feeding straight into this system right here. But this is more for the long term and less for the short term. So what we can do is we can check out the system here down below. I've got a small walkway. What I have here is an etho hopper timer, and I've set up this signal to pulse, not once but twice. You can say hi to myself. That's my camera/alt account, Alec Cronin, for those of you who weren't sure how to pronounce it. At any rate, it's set up to pulse once. The first time it pulses, let's see if I can I get a button? Do I have a button? Let me go grab a button real quick so I can show you from down here. Yep. And yep. Okay. Here we go. We'll put that on there. And I need to be able to get a hold of that lever. Okay. So what I've got here is the first thing I got is a switch. I wanted a switch to be able to decide which side of the chamber they were going on. So I just have a simple setup. I've got 2 repeaters feeding out, and they're locking, and so you raise the redstone block up, and the signal carries over to this redstone line, which locks this signal out. So this is the killing side wiring. That way the killing side wiring doesn't activate. And if I come through and flip it down, you see the redstone block lowers, powering this left side here, which means the living side won't activate. I thought it was a pretty neat way to kind of handle a lockout, so that I could use the same button to control it regardless of which side I wanted them to go on. That was the real purpose behind it. And then, of course, the button up here on this block comes through. It causes this redstone block to drive down, power this. When it powers it, turns off this redstone block long enough for this piston to retract and items to start flowing into this hopper. Once that happens, the countdown begins. The first pulse comes through, and let's see if I can do it so that I can show you. In fact, let me get this other account out of the way. Get out of the way. Okay, there we go. And we're switching. Alright. So, let's see if I can show you the pulse. See, there's the first pulse. This redstone block moves over, and it actually causes that one, the one piston that has the gate to drop down. The wiring for that is right there. And then it goes through and pulses a second time, and that pulls the redstone block back. So it's kind of like a T flip-flop in that way. You can see here it is powered one way, and then when it pulses, it leaves that redstone block out there, so it's turned off. When this goes off, the piston that holds up the glass that blocks the path here, I'll show you. When that leaves the redstone block off to the side, this block goes down. It's a little confusing to see going back and forth, but there's a lot of redstone involved in it. So, but it gives me the option of toggling things back and forth. And this signal right here feeding into this piston locks it. So essentially, when this block gets turned off by activating the button, it gives it the chance to go once and then back, and then it stays locked because this redstone reactivates. If this torch were not here, it would just go back and forth constantly. So I have this set up here, and then around here it's a little confusing, but I've got the same setup. I had to bridge, you can see here, this is the redstone block where it leaves itself behind in this little hole. And this feeds up into the hopper, or to the piston rather, that lets them through. And then this line of redstone feeds into the dispenser that lets the water out. And then I've got the exact same hopper timer set up over here with the same input, the red signal. I'll put an extra piece of redstone there. Give me that. With the signal coming through, pushing into the piston so that it can only trigger twice. Once coming this way and then once going back. So you end up getting 2 pulses at an interval. You can control the amount of time in that interval by adding more items to this system. Let's see if I can get up here. Oh, that's open air, but that's okay. In each of these, I had just 16 blocks. And that's what I use to control the time. I found that's a good length of time. But you can actually add more time to this. So if you wanted to use this as a relay to pulse every so often, you could do that just simply by adding more stuff into it. Or in my case, if I want a longer delay between pulses, that's when I would add more items. So I've done a lot of work on this. It took some time to build up the wiring. Back here is the sticky piston with what are these things called? They're called slime blocks. And that sticky piston is pushing the slime blocks down, and that's what activates the switch. So I just put furnaces around it because they're cheap, and that way the slime blocks rather don't stick to it. You can see this is where that comes down. So if I push it up, it locks off that side, the kill chamber, and the only one acting is the living. So I spent a lot of time in a creative world trying to work out the way to utilize one hopper timer for both, and it used too many switches. Like I could have done it with a couple levers rather, and a couple of extra things. But at the end of the day, I just wanted 2 switches. I wanted one switch to control which direction it was going. I wanted a button to activate it. And actually, what I may end up doing is using a pressure plate here instead of a button. But at least the button keeps the mobs from activating it accidentally. If there are villagers here and they try to get in close, it keeps them from activating. So, but yeah, that's pretty much everything I've been up to today. I've been really busy. So, it's going to be kind of a short episode. I just wanted to kind of give an overview of this. Still kind of working on the aesthetics a little bit of what I wanted to do. I really wanted to keep this a sort of all-in-one smaller building, and that's not turning out to be the case. So maybe this will end up getting turned into a castle or some sort, and then we'll have the village laid out around it. I didn't even mention I pulled out all the crops and farms and everything too. I didn't get rid of the stuff. I just stored it right here for now. I started working on this, and then I really wanted to start laying out the town around it. And between the horses and this, I've just been so busy that I haven't really had a whole lot of time to start working on that. So, at any rate, that's going to be the end of the episode. Again, it's going to be really short, and I apologize for that. And until next time, take it easy. Have a good day. Bye-bye.